Former President Donald Trump's legal battles, including the fines and expensive lawyer fees, keep adding up. On Friday, a New York judge ordered Trump to pay nearly $355 million for committing fraud by inflating financial statements and also banned him from running any business in New York for 3 years. Friday's ruling came just weeks after a jury in a separate case ordered Trump to pay advice columnist E. Jean Carroll over $83 million for defamation. At this point, the Republican frontrunner has been fined roughly $438 million over just a few weeks. Let's go through some of the finer points here that Trump is really unhappy about. He's spoken about it. Ron Chapman's with us, federal defense attorney, and he's worked with some high-dollar cases. Ron, if Trump and his sons cannot run Trump Organization for 3 years, who's in charge now?
Well, simple answer to that. Former federal judge Barbara Jones of the Southern District of New York was appointed by the New York judge in this case as the receiver of the company. Previously, financial transactions needed to be run past the judge after they occurred, but as a result of the new ruling, we can expect that those transactions will actually need approval from this federal judge, meaning she will be at the helm of the Trump Organization, making decisions, and has already earned about $2.6 million doing just that.
Wow. Oh, so Barbara Jones is just like sitting in an office now receiving this and saying, okay, yeah, this lease looks good in those terms. Yeah, I sign off. She's just doing it.
In addition to that, there's also been a compliance officer requested by the judge in this case that should be appointed to, I believe, her office to ensure that some other compliance aspects are monitored. But yes, I imagine a team of CPAs are likely issuing reports to Judge Jones and helping her make decisions and calling balls and strikes on the finances of the Trump organization.
Something that you picked out that I didn't really catch was that the judge in Goron, he cited a lack of contrition on the part of Donald Trump in why he really brought down the hammer in essence. And you hear that in, let's say, a murder case. You know, you really want to hear that somebody is sorry. Is he supposed to beg for the court's mercy for inflating his property values? And he says, I thought they were worth that much? Or like, what did he want from him?
Yeah, this was a very interesting theme of the judge's ruling, the continued reference to the lack of remorse. And I always find that interesting when a judge mentions it, because obviously we are involved in an adversarial process. This is how we resolve disputes in the United States. Somebody takes one position, somebody else takes another. Justice happens in between the bread there. But here, it's very strange, particularly because Trump has rightly said there has been really no evidence of anybody being defrauded, no defaulted loans, nobody left holding the bag, no Bernie Madoff. In fact, even the judge said he's not a Bernie Madoff. So I really don't understand what the remorse is related to. If it's related to financial information, I think that we have a difference of opinion and a finding of a judge. We don't need to get into intent and motive to analyze that situation.
And maybe this is what you're talking about, that Trump cannot take out a business loan in New York for 3 years. I think his son's maybe for 2 years. And again, Trump says, my creditors are happy. They did not show up to testify against me. They made money on this. Clearly, the judge disagrees with something there. Why would he be banned from taking out loans if that is the case?
Well, I think he's being banned from taking out loans because that's just part of the punishment for the overall finding of fraud that the judge indicated here. He's banned from doing business with a New York bank and personally prevented from taking out those loans independently, which I'll have to mention is going to cost a significant cash crunch for Donald Trump in this situation. But the ban appears to be the judge's finding. You have wronged the state of New York. Ergo, we will ensure that you're not able to do business for a certain period of time in the state. I will say he showed some restraint in not banning Trump for a longer period than 3 years. Mm-hmm.
What about that crunch? As far as you can tell, I mean, Donald Trump loves to talk about how he's very rich. He's very proud of being very rich. Does he have $438 million liquid that he can really just take out of the bank?
And this is really the question here. And I tried to crunch the numbers as much as I can. We have the civil $83 million judgment against Trump. We also have this most recent verdict. It looks like in order to pay the bond on this New York verdict, he's going to have to give a surety about $18 million, not the entire thing. That's great. But the civil judgment is going to cost him a lot more. He will either have to pay 111% of the judgment or find a surety One of the issues hurting Trump here is that high New York interest rate that he would have to pay in order to post a bond, which means that in either case, he is going to be shelling out millions and millions, potentially over 100 million in order to appeal these cases. And then if he loses the appeal, he'll have to pay on top of that as well. I don't know what his financial situation is, but I think for just about anybody, especially somebody prevented from taking out loans in New York, most major banks are registered in New York, he is going to have a tough time paying for this.
I see. Just a one-sentence answer, please. We all remember the fight with Rosie. If he did claim bankruptcy, could he get out of this?
I don't think so, because the judgments are largely against the business. The independent judgment in the Carroll case against Donald Trump, he may be able to get out of that one, but this New York judgment, I don't believe so.
Ron Chapman, good info. Thank you very much.